Yo, what is up? Um, Guys, I think this is going to be a bit of a challenging stream. I'm not going to lie. Um, Obviously, growing up, I think everyone was a Hulkamaniac. I don't think there was many people that weren't. Um, Unfortunately, we've got the sad news about the passing of Hogan. Obviously, so the minute we found that out, obviously, it was like, okay, we need to go live. We need to obviously talk all things Hulkster. How you guys doing?
Hulkamania.
Yeah, not bad. It's a bit of a shock that we've lost the Hulk after like 40+ years of being involved in wrestling one way or another. Bit of a shock.
Yeah. Yeah. You said like Hulkamania. Yeah, I'm honestly I'm just really shocked. But I think it's great that we can talk about Hogan, and talk in his memory, about what the Hulkster did for, I guess, wrestling, how he meant for us and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get on to it. Obviously, those that are going to comment, please keep the comments coming in. We will be double checking every comment before anything gets posted and read out. Obviously, I know some people have got a difference of opinion in terms of every wrestler. Obviously, this is to remember Hogan. So, guys, when we're gone,
We're talking Hulk Hogan, the wrestling pioneer. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
To cover all things wrestling, and you have great days, and you have bad days. This is a bad day in the wrestling world. Separate from anything else that's gone on in recent times. This is a man who pioneered wrestling. Wrestling would not be where it is today without the Hulkster. And I think we can all come to terms and agreement on that.
So yeah, 100%. Like the big. Obviously, we'll get through it. But yeah, it was. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to put it. He was just. It was just a force in the 80s and the 90s. Like he helped so much with, especially in the 80s, and getting things popular. Like rock and wrestling, for example, and like bringing the names like Mr. T, Cyndi Lauper.
You mentioned it there, rock and wrestling. It's been a hard week for both. We've lost Hulk, and as we know, we've lost Ozzy Osbourne, who had a great partnership with WWE in the past.
Yeah, exactly that. But obviously we had the Hogan's show, Rock and Wrestling, as well. I'm just shocked, man. Like basically what I guess, in my opinion, at one point, probably the ultimate babyface, until he went back to WCW and turned heel on everyone. But yeah, let's get into it. So obviously, I said, like, to the guys off stream, I was like, give me your favorite moment. Obviously, we can talk about that. Obviously, just talking about that one there, then we'll move on or move back and move forward in time and stuff like that. So obviously, this was one of Deek's favorite moments. Obviously, Hulk Hogan being the third man. Man, I'm just shocked. And even at this, I vaguely remember watching this on the TV. I was, it was 97, no, 96. So I was like 5 that year. I was 6 that year, so I was 5 at this point. So I think she would have been, what, 8?
Yeah, I was about 8, maybe 9.
Yeah.
I remember this quite well, because I was shocked to see Hogan pop up there with them two guys. Because at the time when this happened, he was, as you said yourself, he was the old babyface at the time. So this is his first major heel turn. and it was a big shock to the wrestling industry and to a lot of fans out there as well. Because no one thought ever he would go heel, and he did, and he done well with it as well.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, obviously, being the birth of NWO, obviously without the birth of the NWO, I know it's a controversial take, but that means we would never have got Crow Sting, you know, because we needed the bad guys, and Crow Sting was the guy to take them on.
Yeah.
So without this moment, we don't get like the iconic Sting, you know. So from one thing, created so much, you know. But yeah, so I mean, I remember the coming out, and was it Macho Man that was on the floor? I believe it was Macho Man, because he gets hit with a leg drop. You know.
Yeah, it was a very iconic moment coming out and hitting a leg drop, dropping the promos, and then eventually after a couple of weeks of doing that, they eventually started spraying their opponents' backs with the letters NWO.
Yeah, the NWO logo, man. The iconic New World Order. Yeah, man, it was so cool. Like NWO were. And at that time as well, NWO was like that was who you wanted to be a part of. When you talk like iconic wrestling factions, NWO is top, in my opinion, top 3. Obviously, later on in its career, it wasn't as successful.
No.
It was it fizzled. But at the height of its moment, I would say NWO's 100% top 3.
The thing is, NWO. Without the birth of them, you would never have got factions like Evolution and things like that come out either.
Yeah, they really personified factions being very mainstream. You know, obviously we still had like people like the Freebirds and whatnot beforehand, but obviously at this point when WCW was like on its rise and its climb. You know, as I said, like at the beginning of them, when we were talking, like wrestling really got a big boom in the 80s. It really grew more in the 90s, especially with like Return of TV, WCW going, obviously. Then you had that the Monday Night Wars with the Attitude Era as well, like running from that time as well. So, you know, to Hogan to be kind of around in that time, you know, his influence in a lot of stuff, you know, no one thought he was going to jump ship. So yeah, it's just absolutely crazy that obviously this moment happened in itself. Talking of crazy moments, the Hulk stuff. Yeah, go on.
Just before you get onto my moment, I've just received 4 messages from 4 different friends going, I can't believe Hulk's died. I can't believe Hulk's passed. Or if one's just put it as it's just coming. These are personal friends of mine who watch wrestling and have loved wrestling like us and have grown up watching it. And one's just put, look, all the backlash online that Hulk's receiving, everyone needs to stop, take a breath, and remember Hulk the wrestler, Hulk the pioneer, who got wrestling to where it is today, where you tune in every Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, who cares what day, to see where wrestling has got, where wrestling will go, but we shall never, ever need to forget where wrestling came from.
Yeah.
And that's just coming in from one of my close friends now. And he was like, you know, big Hulk fan. You know?
And
I guess it makes complete sense as to what we're talking about. You know, when we're talking Hulk the wrestler. And as I just saw the graphic, I'm going to pick a moment that I weren't alive for, but it's one of my favorite moments that I think.
None of us were alive for it.
You know, I wasn't alive for it, but we've all seen it when the Giant got slammed. What a moment that would have been. What a moment it is to rewatch it. You know, the full build-up. You couldn't see everything. You know, I watched the whole build-up, you know, and to get to that moment where he goes, picks up the Giant and slams him when the world said he couldn't do it. Hulk Hogan was there. Hulk Hogan conquered the Giant. He slammed a giant and then went on a rampage of Hulkamania with the Hulkamaniacs.
Yeah, so obviously, Hogan slamming Andre the Giant. So Deekz, it was 1987.
Oh, I was nearly there. Nearly.
Yeah,
I was
almost
nearly there.
So WrestleMania 3, guys. Obviously, it took
Oh,
place
close.
on March the 29th, 1987. The Pontiac Silverdome in Michigan. Obviously, I always think now when I think about the Silverdome, and if I ever read that,
I remember Superdome, no?
yes, but I was going to say it always reminds me of there's a WrestleMania with Rock, Hogan, and Steve Austin. I'm just smiling thinking about it.
We all remember that moment, though.
Hogan said obviously the wrong stadium. Yeah.
It was really nice that Rock was the one that come out to correct him.
Yeah, because obviously they all came out for like the the big thing of like WrestleMania 30. I've got the graphic here.
You know,
obviously
you had a Hogan mess. Hogan was hyped for he was hyped in the middle of the ring, messed up the arena name, and who better than to come out as well WrestleMania 30 than The Rock, who then manages to pick up the line and looking at I remember it vividly, glancing straight over at him, going Silverdome.
I think. Hang on, let me double check. I'm sure.
Or whatever the dome's called, I don't.
But
just really good moments, man.
Yeah, it just made me laugh because obviously they were talking. Yeah, so he called the Superdome the Silverdome, and it just makes me laugh. Obviously, because this is in his mind. Obviously, the Silverdome for his iconic moment. Obviously, is slamming Andre the Giant. So I mean, he probably just got like, he's easy to get confused in the moment. But yeah, obviously fans are delighted to see Stone Cold and The Rock join him in the ring, and they obviously they mocked him, and obviously when The Rock says here to be in the Superdome, he looked at Hogan, and he gave him like that little glance and stuff, Yeah, no, it's just one of those moments, and then just the three of them smiling together, it just makes me smile thinking about it because it was such a moment. You think, oh, it's the grandest stage of all. Hogan accidentally says the wrong thing, and instead of these guys correct him in a way that they're all just smiling, and obviously we get the iconic sharing of the Steve Weisers. Yeah, it's just a great moment. But let's go back to the obviously the actual Silverdome itself. March 29th, 1987, Andre the Giant got slammed by the Giant. Sorry, Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant even. Probably, guys, I would say probably the very first ever, probably one of the first ever iconic WrestleMania moments that I think is kind of embedded in everyone's brain. I would say that's probably one of the first like holy S moments that I think we ever got in professional wrestling, at least in our opinion, no?
Yes,
one or probably the first one, maybe the first one, especially at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I know a few high flyers back in the day were doing crazy things off top of steel cages, but I can't think if it was before that moment or after that moment that happened that they were doing that. I can't remember what's on my head.
Yeah, obviously I know I'm assuming you're talking about the Superfly splash at MSG and things like that. Yeah. But in my opinion, when people say like when they talk about like oh my god moments kind of thing and things like that, and it's not a high flying moment, for example, it's not off a cage or a steel chair or a TLC match or anything like that. This is one of them that's definitely should be spoken on. Like what a moment. Yeah.
The only thing I think in modern era or close to modern era that can be anywhere near that would be John Cena FUing Big Show and Edge.
Oh yeah, from the side of the turnbuckle when he picked them up and slapped. Yeah, and then obviously Edge. I think Edge slides off, right, and then he just does it. Yeah, but yeah, man, that was like what, nearly 600, 700 pound that he had on his shoulders.
I think it was like 750 pounds. I think it was
maybe roundabout. Obviously, I don't know how. I don't think they actually have a number of how much. Sorry, I don't know.
At the time, Big Show at the time was high £500 at the time.
Yeah.
And Edge coming at least 240 himself, at least.
I don't know if there's an actual record number of how big Andre was at this point in like weight. Obviously it was huge.
He was easy £500, easy.
Yeah, I reckon. But yeah, so obviously with it being your big moment, Deekz, Shades. When you watch it back, what's your first thought? Like when you go back and watch this,
you know what? When you go back and watch it, and you see not Andre, not Hulk, but you see the sheer shock of all the people in the crowd, the sheer shock that it's finally been done. Someone has suplexed Andre the Giant. Yeah. Someone has slammed Andre the Giant. Just to see, like the last time that you could look at a crowd and go, wow, they look just like that crowd when Hulk slammed, was probably when the Undertaker streak was broken.
I mean, it was a disbelief moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously.
That's why, in comparison, you look at the Undertaker streak, the disbelief in the crowd, you look at the Hulkamania moment.
Yeah.
Disbelief in the crowd to a similar level.
So,
you're right. It is very similar. They're like, it's that.
You had people happy, people crying, people with their mouth wide open, like, what happened?
It's that shock and awe moment. It's that shock, like, oh, it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to probably onto my moment. I think it is iconic in itself. Again, another iconic moment. WrestleMania 18. Hogan versus The Rock. Essentially, it was the passing of the torch, of the big baby face from from Hogan to Rock even. But from what I know, from what I've heard, recounts of the match and stuff like that, they kind of had an idea going in. Obviously, as you can see, Hogan's in the black and white there. He was supposed to be the bad guy. But it's funny because as the match went on, the crowd kind of switched to wanting Hogan to be the winner. And like cheering for Hogan. So obviously those two guys, pros and obviously, what they do, flipped it as Hogan was the babyface and Rock was the heel, kind of in the match at least. On the build up to it, it was the other way around. Hogan was the heel and Rock was the face. So obviously those guys switching the moment and allowing it to like the time to breathe and stuff, literally just the stare down and this moment, and then obviously when they get into the grapple, and obviously it gets pushed, and the erupt from just the crowd it just gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Literally think about it now again, I get goosebumps. In my opinion, again, everyone will disagree. Obviously, these are matters of opinions. Obviously, for us, I don't need certain things in a match and stuff like that. For me, this is probably one of the greatest matches of all time. For just reacting to a crowd, telling a story, feeling the moments, allowing things to breathe. Like there was moments where things would happen, and then you'd be like, I can't believe that happened. It was such a simple moment, but it was peak of the way they used like psychological storytelling to really tell a story. So yeah, Rock and Hogan for me was insane.
That moment, WrestleMania 18, that match is on the same caliber, and these are two different matches, two different match styles, two different match types. Is on the same caliber as Bret Hart and Steve Austin when they had their match at Mania. It created that buzz. It created that atmosphere. Two different match styles, one brutal, one not so brutal. But when you think of Mania, you think of these moments. And when you think of Hulk, you think Andre the Giant, The Rock,
Yeah.
NWO.
Yeah.
They're all big moments in his career, all of them.
You know? And then Ultimate
and
Warrior, for example, as well.
Yeah.
The work with,
Yeah.
you know, Pioneer. You know, we've gone from
we haven't even touched
WrestleMania
the
1
surface.
to WrestleMania 18. That's 18 years of pioneering there.
Yeah, that's it. We haven't even touched the surface of what we're talking about. Obviously, we've just highlighted a moment each, obviously, because we could go on for forever. But yeah, like I honestly, as you start to wind down, look, I'm just so shocked, obviously, about it. You know, like, because guys, we were literally discussing a couple months ago about the you know, the what was going to be Bischoff and Hogan's like amateur wrestling. Do you remember?
The shoot ration you're on about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we was literally, it was only a couple months ago that we were like talking, okay, how are they going to do this? Is it like shoot wrestling with story mode, like basically like a story mode? And obviously they're going to be, or is it going to be like kind of like Lucha Underground where certain things are acted out and then the wrestling happens and then it kind of goes back to like a film again, you know, and the middle part in the match is the real bit and then the story kind of goes on from there. Like we were only discussing that a couple months ago,
Yeah.
you know, about like how we're interested to see what they do with it because it was a new thing. It wasn't an actual dub like pro wrestling promotion. It was supposed to be amateur. So yeah. So obviously we were talking about that. I wonder now what's going to happen with that too. You know,
If there's a way, you know, the obviously, you know, people, Bischoff probably grieving, you know, the locker room's grieving, you know.
Yeah.
But if I was Bischoff, and let's say this whole thing's planned out and everything's in place, do it. Do it for the man who wanted it there. You, those two had a plan, you know, and it seemed like a pretty decent plan from what, you know, you read and stuff. And if there's any way, do it.
Yeah, I reckon. I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to think that they do.
Like Hulk would want it done.
Yeah. But I said I don't know what they're gonna do in terms of obviously that. You know? The least of everyone's worries. But do you know what I mean?
Then we have SmackDown to come.
Yeah.
Probably going to be an emotional show.
What an absolutely lovely ringtone there. Do you reckon? Obviously, I'm assuming why Shades takes that phone call. Do you think we'll get something on SmackDown as well as Raw? Do you think they'll just hold it for? They'll just run it on SmackDown, or do you think we'll get something SmackDown and Raw? Obviously, in terms of because it's Hogan.
I think they'll announce it and break the news on SmackDown, and then make a special show of Raw.
Yeah, so I'm thinking they probably. I'll be honest. I reckon that they'll probably, yes, maybe do something very similar. So I can see them. Sorry, I can see them doing maybe, like a big announcement kind of on the show, obviously, and then doing the big thing, the 10 bell salute and all that stuff. And then from that, maybe doing a special show for Hogan on the Raw. Maybe, do you know what I mean? So they do like a separate.
Yeah.
They do like the remembrance of Hogan on the SmackDown, and then maybe on Raw we get like an actual like
I can't remember what star it was, but I remember Vince being on the ramp back in the day. You know, for different stars, you get the 10 bell salute. You had a whole tribute show for them.
Yeah, they've done it a few times.
Yeah,
you know, to me, this is one of those times that requires it.
Yeah.
You know, and that phone call was a phone call going, yeah, hey man, do you know Hulk? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, terms of
I'm
join stream.
shocked. I know.
But yeah, guys, I reckon as we kind of like, you know, wrap up now, it's going to be strange, yes, I know. But what we are going to do is, I reckon, I've got a graphic of Hogan, so I want to put it up. And obviously, before the show ends, I'm thinking what we do is put it up, guys. I'm going to mute you. Obviously, we'll have a moment of silence. And then
Yeah.
obviously, the last thing that'll happen is the video will roll, and obviously that'll be the final picture of Hogan. Will be the final thing on the show. You guys all right with that?
100%.
I'm fine with that.
It just goes to show, you know, how much it's impacting people.
Mm-hmm.
For
Yeah.
you know, just to go off of my experience in the last 10 minutes. That, you know, this is fresh news, messages, multiple, a phone call. You know.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Just I just can't. I have no more words for this.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. With that being said, guys, I'm going to mute you. And obviously, I'll put the graphic up. All right.